All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order for the CR committee at 7:14 p.m. Could I have a roll call, please? And since we have people remote, has to be roll call. I mean, with your name first. So starting at the table with Michael.
Okay, Mike Podshead, present.
Veronica Cal, present.
Selena Thomas, present.
Emily Fine, present.
All right, so we are missing Todd Melanson, and we have 2 people remote. So thank you. I just want to apologize that the Zoom link was somehow deleted. All the Zoom links apparently going forward for meetings. And so there was difficulty getting in, and that's the reason that we're starting late, but we have a new username and passcode. So, all right, the meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube. Is anybody else recording? All right, additions or deletions? I have none, but does anybody feel that anything else should be added to the meeting or deleted for that matter? Okay, hearing none. We have minutes for May 27th that were distributed. Again, I apologize for them going out so late. I expected this to go out on Tuesday, but it's been a little busy around here lately. So it didn't get out until this morning. I apologize for that. So if someone would like to make a motion to approve the minutes for May 27th, and then we can discuss. So a motion and a second, please.
Okay, this says May 29 at the top.
Does it say May 29? Is it was our meeting May 29th or May 27th?
Hold on, I will check.
It could have been May 29th. I could be off by.
May. It was the 29th.
Okay, so error in the agenda. It was the minutes for May 29th. So could I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of May 29th?
I'll make a motion. Approve the meeting minutes of May 29, 2025.
Okay, so Michael made the motion. Is there a second?
I will second. Selena Thomas.
Okay, Selena Thomas, second. So is there any discussion on the minutes? Anything that anybody wants to change or update or anything like that?
I didn't find anything, so I'm good.
Anybody else have anything going through here? I didn't.
I did not.
Okay. So then roll call vote, starting at the table with Michael.
Mike Podshead, yes.
Veronica Cal, yes.
Selena Thomas, yes.
Emily Fine, yes.
Thank you. All right, so that is the minute. So going to the meeting business. 2.1. I have to admit, I have done very little for this other than I did talk to Ann Gagnon, and she was also trying to get into the meeting. I was hoping she would be here. I did talk to her earlier in the week, and as far as the CR goes, what I asked her was, would Fish and Game be willing to hold the CR? So maybe I'm going to 2.2 on this. The discussion of the CR holder. Would they be willing to hold if water was part of the CR, the water restrictions that we talked about? And she said that it would depend on how we, it would depend on the state because she's not the final determinant of everything. It has to be run by the land use committee. So she would have to take it to them, but she would want us as we, and this is where 2.1 comes in, finalize the allowed and prohibited uses, to put everything in there and provide that to her. And I wasn't sure what format she wanted it in, whether she wanted it in their template or just an informal list from us, to put it in, to list these out. And then we could work together if in fact we decide we want to go forward with Fish and Game, so that it could be in a format that she could take to her committee and see whether or not they would be agreeable to that. So I hope I stated that correctly. I wanted Anne to be on here so that I was certain that I was saying the right thing, or that she could say the right thing. But that was how I understood what she wanted. So I guess the next question is, Selena, have you been able to talk at all with NRWA?
So I contacted them, and I've been waiting to hear back from them. So I have not been able to talk to them yet.
Okay. All right. So it would be good to hear from them at some point.
Yeah.
I think they've been busy too, getting their summer work, started and all that.
Right.
They also have a new executive director, I believe, fairly recently. I'm not sure, maybe a couple months ago. Does anybody know?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
be willing to continue to try and contact them.
I don't know, how does everybody feel about that? For Selena to continue to contact them?
I think she should.
I think you should too, Selena. I think we should have all the input when we make the decision.
Okay.
So, yeah, try to continue. Emily, what do you think?
I have my doubts that they want to be holding a conservation restriction, but it's worth pursuing, even though I think their response is going to be no.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I agree with you that it is worth pursuing. So, let me see. I'm trying to see if Anne is coming in. Well, I know it works because I sent it to you two. Let me just make sure. And I sent it to Anne. So I know that she had said she had another meeting tonight at 5:30. I have to be in Harvard at 5:30. Well, anyway.
Did you send it to her cell phone or let her know?
She has been giving me everything by email. If you have her cell and want to send it to her.
I'm looking for it right now. I know I've got it.
Feel free. But I did send it to her email. So while Emily does that, the other thing that was on the agenda was to talk about the things that are for and against. And I had hoped to write that up, and I just didn't have time. I guess I didn't expect the town meeting. We would have 2 town meetings, 3 between when we last met, really, and now. Well, 2 town meetings between when we last met and now. And I was out of town for 3 weeks, between our last meeting, and I got home the day before town meeting. So I really, really haven't had time to do that. So do we want to, do either Emily and Selena, do either of you have anything written up on the allowed and prohibited uses?
I have a list that I started. I can share it if I am allowed to share.
Hartley, if you're down there, or Jim, could you give Selena?
Oh, it looks like I have the permission.
Oh, good.
Give me 1 second.
Thank you.
Okay, and I can text Ann now
Okay,
and tell her to check her email for the link.
okay, all right, thank you. And Selena's gonna bring up the list that she's been putting together.
Can you see it?
I can. Can you make it up? Well, maybe I can make it bigger.
Oh, I can make it bigger.
Okay.
Well, how's that?
That's good. All right. Permitted persons for habitat restoration, permit holders allowed on the sandy slopes, hiking and walking, including dogs. We should probably put something about picking up, droppings.
Dog waste at the bottom.
Oh, is that there? Not allowed, dog
Yeah,
waste,
right.
okay, yes. So that is in there, just under the not allowed dog waste. Fertilizer on soccer fields. Stay off sandy slopes, motorized vehicles, interacting with wildlife species, removing reptiles.
Well, am I correct in thinking that Emily's idea was to just use the allowed and prohibited items from the Water Resource Protection District that they have already? And if we just use all those, even though some of them don't actually apply to this situation, but I made a copy.
Oh, did you? Okay, that's what I was
And-
doing right now.
I mean, I think it includes most of what's in there, but in their jargon. So which might be a good idea. But, so I made copies.
Oh, good.
And I noted which ones, some of them that would be prohibited on the land that's protected, could be reworded to be allowed for the soccer fields. So for instance, prohibited, construction, maintenance, repair, and enlargement of drinking water supply related facilities as such, and it goes on. But then if we're going to let them put in their irrigation system, then that would be something that's allowed on that part of the property. So unfortunately, I can't hand you through the screen a copy, but
Yeah, I have a copy of it. I'm trying to pull it up online so that we can like copy and paste from one spot to another.
Yeah. If you go to the town website, you could bring it up that way. Or do you have it like saved as a PDF on your system, Selena?
That's what I was just looking to see.
Also, it says permit holders allowed on sandy slopes, so not allowed, it needs to be unpermitted, or something about not going on sandy slopes.
Well, it says public must stay off sandy slopes, the second bullet.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So is that clear enough though, Emily? Do you
I think so, yeah.
All right. Motorized vehicles, what does he say about motorized vehicles? What does this say?
including lawnmowers.
Mhm.
But see, the bicycles, I brought my sisters, who were staying with us a couple of days up, and I could see that people are riding their bicycles up there. So is that something that since historically people have used it for that purpose, are we going to prohibit them in the future from using it?
Well, it's listed as not allowed. I suppose that I don't know, in you know, like the period of time from October to March, could it be allowed?
Well,
Do you know what I mean?
right. Oh, sure, we could be that specific, but in the allowed uses within a water resource protection district, item 3 that I have here, foot and or bicycle paths and associated bridges. So it would be allowed if we followed these regulations strictly.
We might need to,
So I think we had talked before about not having it be different for different seasons, just because it gets
difficult.
more difficult to understand and enforce, because people will have a harder time understanding it.
Right.
I mean, number 1 on this, of allowed, conservation of soil, water, plants, and wildlife.
Allowed activity.
That's an allowed activity. Well, the conservation of wildlife is what this project is all about. So it seems that that could be taken as it is verbatim or elaborated.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Could
that's
you read
good.
that again? Conservation of, and
Conservation of soil, water, plants, and wildlife.
okay.
I found it.
Thank you, Selena.
Oh, great.
Yes, there it is under B.
And right. And if you go right down through the list, some of them are absolutely applicable and others are not in our situation. But if this is the totality of the regulations, if we just incorporate them in total, then we've covered everything.
Right, right.
But or we could be
modify.
more specific.
Yeah,
And there might be a few things that we would want to add. But if you go down through the list, I think it includes just about everything. And the ones that I put a circle on are those that when we're putting some kind of restrictions on the soccer field, for instance, as I said, number 8, let's see if your number 8 coincides with this number 8. I think you have to go back the other way, go down.
right there.
Yeah,
Yes.
construction, maintenance, repair, enlargement of drinking water supply related facilities, etc.
That's an allowed use, so
Right.
That's an allowed use, but that's all related to drinking. But if we talk about those uses that we would allow on the other side of the parking lot, it would be the construction, maintenance, repair of the irrigation water supply, because there was talk about getting connecting to the town water supply so that they can irrigate the fields.
yeah, because right now we use our well, but we want to connect to the town supply.
So I think that's a good suggestion that you have here, Michael. You guys can't see it, but he wrote in irrigation water supply, construction, maintenance, repair, irrigation water supply, and enlargement of drinking water supply related facilities.
So if you want, I can go down through, I've circled about, I don't know, 10 or 12 of these that I think might be applicable to the other side of the road. So if we were to take and apply all of these to the CR and add a few more that somehow we feel aren't covered automatically with the CR, and then we use these other circled ones to get us started on the other side of the road, other side of the parking lot.
Mhm. Meaning the Texas side, the
Right.
fields.
Yeah,
side.
the soccer fields.
Yeah, okay.
So do we want to just grab what is here and put them on the list, and then we can go through them one by one and either keep them or get rid of them or expand
Sure, you can either just cut and paste the ones that we're talking about. Okay. So I circled number 2. Outdoor, this would be allowed. Outdoor recreation, nature study, and then, of course, no boating or fishing or hunting or all that.
So we should strike out boating, fishing, and hunting where otherwise legally
Well,
permitted.
actually, on the list that we already generated, we have no hunting, I think.
So are we gonna though replace the list with this?
No, I think we can add to it.
Add to it,
And to it,
okay.
and then refine it after. The next one, number 5,
So do we want to not keep number 3 here?
I skipped down to number 5, 3 and 4. They didn't seem to apply to the,
Yeah, 4 doesn't really apply.
right,
Mhm.
but 5, maintenance, repair, enlargement of any existing structure, and that would be the shed. I think you talked about, making the shed bigger or building a new shed or something like that.
Yeah,
So
we're
this-
building a new, it's a lightning structure, like a pavilion, so people can get out of the
Oh.
weather.
Okay, I wasn't sure about it. Later on, I had something about the lightning structure. So at any rate, number 5 could apply if we just put it there now and then we can go refine it later. Number 8, I think 7 doesn't apply at all.
Yeah, 6 doesn't, 7 doesn't.
So construction, maintenance, repair, and then I went to irrigation, water supply, and just struck everything else because it doesn't apply to us. Oops, construction, yeah. If you were to get after repair, just delete everything after repair.
Or should we delete that? Because I'm thinking about if there is ever a water system put in there, a public well.
That would be an enlargement. Or it
Yeah.
could,
But this is, would it go on to the soccer field? These are,
Is what we're talking about right now specific to just the soccer field?
that's what I think. Because,
No, what we're talking about is the whole thing for the CR. So we would need to include the drinking water, construction, maintenance, repair, and because of the wells.
right, but I think the CR should just, well, one possibility, okay, is to just include everything in the CR. And that's totally covered. And
That's,
then pick and cherry pick those things that we need to reword or use for the soccer fields. You're right, for the CR, we absolutely do need to have the drinking water, all of this verbiage. But if we just take all of these 4 pages or however many they are, and that's the CR, that's one possibility. You see what I mean?
But the CR does not include the soccer fields. It includes outside the soccer fields.
Right. But if we include everything in the CR that's related to the water,
Mhm.
which includes conservation of wildlife, then if we want to reword a couple of them to make it a little bit more specific for our needs, but if we just include the whole thing in the CR and then cherry pick those few things that we think should also be included in the soccer fields.
Right. So we need the wording that includes the drinking water supply so that it's clear that the water department can use those town wells, that we're not preventing that. But in addition, we need wording that has construction, maintenance, repair of the irrigation water supply so that the soccer fields can tie into the town water. So we need both.
Right,
Okay.
yeah, yep,
Okay. So somewhere there we have to put, yes, what Selena's doing.
okay,
Irrigation of soccer fields, yes.
then I skipped all the way down in the prohibited uses to number 8.
I don't see a number 8.
It's,
So the allowed uses has a number 8. Prohibited uses starts A, B, C.
Oh, it's a slightly different format. There's one that starts placement of fill unless the fill has been designated clean fill. Yeah, yours is slightly different.
where,
Stockpile of snow.
I'm wondering why it's different. Bylaws and charter.
What about that earth removal one?
I'm thinking there are
Aye.
a lot of these that are good, that should be in there, I think.
Can you go back up?
This one, Emily?
Yeah.
145, 50,
Let's see if I can find that one online.
145, 54, groundwater.
Well, the way this is worded on mine is placement of fill, unless the fill is designated as clean fill. In other words, when they're making the new soccer field, if they have to bring in any fill, they have to make sure that it's clean fill because it's so close to the water supply.
Right.
Okay.
I think we should take the prohibited uses, I think we should take all of these and then go through, because all of these are gonna wanna be there for the water piece. And then go through like what you were and add the pieces that
Okay.
need more specificity. So
Okay.
maybe grab all of that, all of the prohibited uses there, Selena,
I think,
and then pop them in. And I think it's just that they're written different. The way Selena has it is the way it's written in the E-code online. I'm not sure where this came from.
I just found it online. I don't know.
Okay, just in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm having troubles with my mouse. It doesn't want to select.
But the words are the same. It's just the format of them is different, Michael, that's all. Landfills and open dumps, the words are the same. It's just the way it's written is different.
Let me grab the rest of them and then we can.
Okay, and then we can go through.
Okay, I think that's all of them. All right, so this one will be down below.
Okay. Okay, landfills and open dumps, that's in what you have, Michael. Okay, landfilling of sludge or septic. Oh, these two are left out of ours because we don't have septic, maybe. I don't know.
Right, some of them just don't apply to the soccer field side or either side.
Or to
Either
us,
side, yeah.
really, yeah. Automobile graveyards and junkyards. Storage of liquid hazardous waste, individual sewage disposal. Okay, leave that in. This is different. The replacement or repair of a system which will not result in an increase in design capacity.
Oops.
So that's oh, sorry, wrong one. That's supposed to be a tab. So it's part of the sewage disposal system thing.
Yeah. Oh, it is here. It's just in a different section. It's on the next page. It's in G. The individual sewage. Okay. Some of these might not be really,
They don't apply.
they don't apply. Kind of like the sewage stuff. I mean, do we need that there?
I think the only reason we would need something like that is to help protect the water supply. You know, since it's not a water protection district
Right.
by definition. So.
Mm-hmm.
So my only question with the sewage thing would be whether or not it would make any difference to us having porta potties on site during the soccer season.
That's a good question.
Well, that's not sewage disposal.
True.
That's contained, right? They come and
Right,
remove.
they come and they take it.
Yeah.
Oh, could we just add a phrase at the end of that, porta potties are okay?
Well, I think that would go in the allowed uses.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we have that? Yeah. At soccer fields, yeah. Storage of materials, okay.
Selena, I'm going to ask you to send me that when
Yeah.
we're done.
Definitely.
I just can't write fast enough here.
Yeah,
no.
maybe send it to all of us when you're done. Or
Yeah,
to, no, open meeting law.
I have to send it to Sabrina and then she'll send it out to everybody. But yeah, I will definitely get
Sounds
it
good.
to everyone.
What about the storage of liquid petroleum products?
That's
Except,
prohibited.
Except the following, and there I circled it, it's normal household use, outdoor maintenance, and heating of a structure.
I don't think
So-
those should be allowed.
Right. Oh, I agree. Yeah. Except would they be allowed on the soccer fields if they needed it, like storage for gasoline for the lawnmowers?
I mean, we don't currently have our own lawnmowers. We have a company that mows.
Oh,
So that leave it as is then, because then that will encourage, if it's not allowed.
And
And I'm-
again, where it would be stored would be within, it wouldn't be within the conservation restricted area.
Right,
right.
right.
It would be in the shed or whatever they have there.
Yeah.
Right. So I think prohibiting storage of liquid petroleum products, period. And that would just be on the conservation restriction land, doesn't have to do with the soccer field land.
Okay.
Yeah. I
So
think
we're not preventing it from the soccer field land, we're preventing it from the
Right.
restricted. space.
And the same, later on, it's, the same could be said for the storage of chemical fertilizers. It's not on this, it's the conservation restriction land, but they might, do you use fertilizer? You must.
Yeah, we use fertilizer.
Okay.
So,
Okay, now that one that said storage of sludge and septage, that I think is the porta potty thing. Is that?
maybe.
So the question is, do the porta potties need to be moved from where they are right now at the very end of the driveway? So
So,
that they're within the soccer field.
well, that end of the driveway is connected to the soccer field area because field 2 is right beyond that,
Oh, that's true.
which is why we
Yeah,
have it there because it's near that furthest
Right.
field.
the only thing is that, wasn't it within that circle around a certain distance around the well site?
No,
Oh,
he,
it wasn't? Okay,
I believe the water department person had said that entire parcel was water department's, and it's not. It's that
okay.
400 foot
circle
or
of 400 or whatever. And that end of the parking lot, the last, I would say, maybe 10 feet of it is on that last parcel. So it's only just barely part of that 23-acre parcel.
Okay,
It's definitely not within the 400
within
feet.
that circle. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have, is yours, okay.
Read
Earth
the
removal,
commercial.
consistent with earth removal, and let me. Do you have one, construction and placement of any permanent structures? All right, now, did you get rid of the storage of chemical fertilizers? Yeah,
there it
that
is,
one.
there it is, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we need that one. It's allowed on the soccer fields.
But again, the soccer fields aren't part of the restricted
Area.
Right, but
land.
I thought we needed to come up with what's allowed on the soccer fields as well, don't we?
I didn't think so.
Oh, we don't?
Well,
I thought we,
I think we do.
I think we have to just, decide what's going to be allowed on those, at least make those recommendations to.
Yeah, because it's zone 2, the soccer field is zone 2, and I think, let me get over here.
Okay.
And I think these apply to zone 1 and zone 2, correct?
Yeah, so that's for the groundwater
I see.
protection district. That would apply, but for the conservation restriction, I think we need to figure out if we have to have a map of where the restriction is in place and where it is not.
Right, because that one soccer field, the farther out one.
Yep.
Could be affected by these. If what's his face,
Well, but we're not putting in a groundwater protection district. We're just adding these things to our conservation restriction.
Correct.
And the conservation restriction land does not include the soccer fields. It's only the land to the side of the driveway and outside of the soccer fields.
Well, I totally agree. But I did think that we didn't need to do both. We needed to decide on what are the allowed and prohibited uses in the CR. And then I also thought we needed to go across the driveway, the parking lot, and decide what we were going to allow or suggest what was going to be allowed on the soccer fields. And if that's true, then I don't see the downside of just taking all of these instead of like going through the way we're doing it now. Just take all of them and apply them to the CR, and then cherry pick those that we want to reword that help us come up with the prohibited use, the allowed and prohibited uses for the soccer field.
The downside is that I'm not sure that Fish and Game wants to deal with the soccer field allowed and not allowed things. So I'm not sure that they would be willing to hold the CR if we were extending their responsibility to be watching what's going on the soccer fields.
Okay, and I agree, but it was, and I don't know, but somehow I knew that the CR people, the holder, would be responsible for the restrictions. And maybe these suggestions we're making for whatever body deals with the leasing of the fields, and
Which is the town of Townsend.
which is the
It's
town of
select
Townsend.
board, yeah.
Somehow I thought we were supposed to do both. If we're just doing the restrictions, the conservation restriction, then we just take it
As is.
as it is.
Right. That was my understanding that we need to keep our advice towards the town of Townsend, which is leasing the soccer field land to TESA. That's something that's separate from what we want written in the conservation restriction, which is the land outside or beyond the soccer field.
So,
And we could certainly come up with advice that would be in the lease, but I think right now we need to concentrate on just the conservation restriction so we could get that ironed out and get a holder for the CR.
Can I ask a question on this? Because I'm looking at what Selena has up there. Are we including the piece of property that the second soccer field is on in the CO?
this map is old. This is from back in like 2018 or something.
Okay.
When the idea was to have the fields go to the in-between section. So now the difference is that field 2, which is kind of grayed out right here.
Yeah.
We still want to keep field 2, and instead Misa had asked that between field 2 and the expanded area, there's some area in here that stays naturalized. I can probably pull up the latest site plan if you give me a second. But the point of that picture, the reason I put this up here was the restricted area is out beyond, it's the hillside on this side of the parking area. But making up a map like this that shows this is the restricted area and this is the soccer area might be useful.
Yeah. Because I will tell you, when I talked to Dave Vijant, he said the soccer fields are good except for the soccer field closest to the well. He said if we use that well, then there have to be some restrictions on that field, is what he told me. Because of its proximity to the well. But I don't know.
Well, I guess a part of this is my misunderstanding of what we were being charged with. I thought we were being charged with both the CR and recommendations for the soccer fields. If we just want to deal with the CR now, that'd be fine with me. I mean, we won't even think about the soccer fields until we finalize the CR, which I really like the idea of just taking it in total as is, maybe adding another one or two items that somehow we feel aren't quite included in this. But I thought, Emily, when you made the suggestion, which I characterized as brilliant, it was just take them as it is. It was like we're done with it almost, and it can't be any more complete than it is now. I don't know. We don't have to go through it and decide. Just, okay, here it is. Unless you think it's just too comprehensive and some of the things don't apply, but I would think whoever holds it would realize that and they would know which ones they would have to enforce. I don't know.
I think we first have to decide, are we just doing the CR right now? And maybe later we can talk about suggestions for limits on the soccer field area. So we got to get that clarified, and then we could just go through these point by point and say, yep, that works, that works, that works. This isn't necessary, and so on. And just know what the CR thing is. But I really think for Fish and Game, we need to just be specific about the CR. I don't think they want to have anything to do with the soccer fields.
Well, I agree. So, yeah, it would be fine with me. I mean, I was presenting some of these things in a way because I assumed that we were not only working with the CR, but we were also trying to figure out what we were going to do with the soccer fields. But if we just want to deal with a CR now, totally fine with that. And then we can deal with the other stuff later.
And isn't the Natural Heritage Program that TACE is working with, aren't they making all sorts of suggestions about what's okay and what's not okay?
Yeah, they are.
Okay. So that's being done at the state level.
Right.
Is it in line with what we're doing, Selena? Like, are the things that they're saying yes or no, are they applying it only to the soccer fields, or are they talking about the rest of it?
They're only talking about the soccer fields, and specifically only, so this is the latest plan. It's going to have a slight change from this. This stormwater thing down here is not going to be there. We're putting a little small ditch along the fence line. It's going to be a very, very small, just little bloop instead of a thing at the end here. So they are mostly concerned with us keeping this natural area here that's fenced in. And then
On the other side of the driveway, you mean?
Yep.
Okay.
You don't see my mouse here.
Can't
It's
see your mouse, yeah.
this fenced in area. They want to keep that naturalized area. And then the blue and the red are the two new expanded items that are down towards the Mason Road side of things. So we'll still use field 2, but we'll have this bigger area over here by field 1.
Okay.
So yeah, mostly they're just concerned with what we're disturbing and making sure we keep a natural area down toward field 2 rather than yeah.
So field 2 is the far field, the one
Field
that,
2 is the one down here furthest away from Mason Road.
okay. The question is that field part of the CR or is it not? Because it is in the parcel that Mass GIS says Townsend Water Supply Land, which isn't going
Yeah.
by.
So if you look, this black line right here is the property line that contains that parcel.
Yes.
So see, the very end of the roadway is on that parcel, and then field 2 is also on that parcel. But
Right.
it is nowhere near the circle for the well site.
The circle for the well site is out beyond field 2. So I guess the question is, are we delineating that parcel that field 2 is on? Are we going to somehow cut it out from the CR, or are we going to keep it in the CR?
Was
I know
my
that-
understanding that we were cutting out the soccer field stuff from the CR. And there was a fence that was going to be built that
Yes.
actually delineated this side is the soccer stuff and the other side is the conservation land.
Yeah, and that's what this fence here, it's a split rail fence that we want to put in.
And I'm okay with that as long as we can, we need to talk to land use, I think. As long as we can specify that somehow.
So this is the MESA template, and it says you can say the entirety of this parcel of land or a portion of the property. So it looks like we can specify it. We just have to figure out the verbiage.
Okay. Has Dillis and Roy done any surveying on that at all, Selena? Or I'm wondering if they could help us with that.
Yeah, they have. And I actually have like acreage for different portions. So I can do my homework, add to my homework to find out what the acreage of field 2 is on that third.
And if they have like meets and bounds stuff, or however they're delineating it in your map, we could put it in this. And that would be perfect, I
Right.
think.
Add that to my to-do list. Okay.
So should we go back to what we're doing and, going through what Michael suggested? And because it's pretty much, I would leave the irrigation piece in there. I think we would want that in there. And that's something that Michael pointed out that gets added to this that should be added in. You have it there, irrigation of soccer fields, allowed activities. Yeah.
But if the soccer fields aren't part of the CR, I
Right.
mean, I don't
But
mind having,
wasn't the piping stuff you were going to need to get into the conservation?
so it depends on if the conservation area is along this side and then out here, then no, because we're either gonna bring a pipe in from Horseshoe Drive right here, or we'll
Okay.
come down the driveway, this new driveway that we're putting in
Okay,
to our little shed, which is right here.
Okay.
Okay.
So as long as this north side isn't part of the conservation area or conservation restriction, then it's not going to be an issue.
okay.
Okay.
All right, so let's go back and just deal with the CR and trim it down to its essentials and, go from there.
Yeah, good idea.
All right. So where were we?
We can take out irrigation of soccer fields for allowed use.
For now, if we do decide that that's also our responsibility, then after we finish this, then we can go to that.
Right.
All right, I'm just gonna plop them up here. Were we taking out the bicycle and horse or no?
That's permitted?
Yeah, because down here we had said no bicycles.
Yeah. Well, on the template here, it has it permitted, but we don't.
Right, I know that the water supply people allow it. The question is, do we want to allow it in the habitat area? Like,
I think not,
No,
yeah. Because this bylaw that we're looking at is for water only. It doesn't consider the wildlife, so.
And in addition, under prohibited was manure. And if you got horses there, you're gonna get manure there.
yep. And then the maintenance, repair and enlargement of an existing structure, there aren't going to be any existing structures.
Not for soccer, but I think in the future it could be for water. So I would leave.
Right. Okay.
So wait a minute. So if you go back up, the one right after that says construction, maintenance, repair, and enlargement of drinking water supply related facilities. That would be allowed, but the one before it, there aren't any existing structures, so that
Right.
could be eliminated.
right.
Oh, I
Just
see what
to
you're saying.
simplify.
Yeah. We could, yes.
There we go.
And this one's a soccer field one, so I'm going to move that.
Because those are things then that could be in the lease. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
But the lease is written and I think it has that stuff in it already. Doesn't it, Selena?
I believe it does. I don't
It
know
was
that it specifically
a while ago.
calls out the porta potties. That's the only one that I don't recognize.
Okay. I haven't looked at the lease in a long time, so. All right. So where,
But we're also excluding hunting from the restricted,
We are.
the conservation land, right? Or not?
yes. I think we should because the soccer fields are right there.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
too
that
close
what
to
Ann
the
had
children.
showed us, it kind of excludes the south anyway, but no problem in calling it out, you know, so. All right,
It said outdoor recreation, nature study, boating, fishing, and hunting where legally permitted. Subject to section, so, you know, you can just say it's not legally permitted.
All right, so do we want to go through these
Okay.
again, or do we
Yes.
want to jump to where we were?
Landfills and open dumps, that makes sense. That can be prohibited. Automobile graveyards and junkyards should definitely be individual. And certainly there shouldn't be any sewage disposal systems there.
Right.
'Cause
I
it's-
almost feel like this is overkill, and we just say no building or changing anything on the property with the exception of the water well stuff.
I think if we don't say that you can't do it, then someone's gonna say, but you didn't say we couldn't do that.
Okay.
You know,
And I'm
But-
thinking,
but I don't know if we need all that gobbledygook. It could just say individual sewage disposal systems, period.
well, let's just leave it as is for now, I think.
All right.
Well, like
And
this is
oh,
the replacement or repair of a system, which we don't currently have one there. So,
oh, right, well,
and do we really want to allow a sewage disposal system that can receive some sewage on the property?
No, we
No.
don't want any.
although, you know, if there's more than a well on that building, I guess they could use a porta potty too. You know,
Oh, I didn't think of that.
All right, we can leave it, but
Yeah. I think they've worked out the boilerplate, description of these things. Lawyers have done it, and so it probably covers a lot that we might not think about.
yeah. So this subsection D is their definitions.
there are definitions above,
Yeah.
in the bylaw, this is,
Right. There's a whole
yes.
that big. So I think it would be this toxic
Mm-hmm.
or hazardous materials.
So do we want to put a section for definitions? We may want to. I don't know. It depends. Mm.
I think we're getting, I think we need to make it simpler and not all this.
Right. We could always refer to the definitions in 145-54 if we need to. And be specific right there
Yeah, it's actually, we're not writing a bylaw. Yeah, there we go. That's,
right.
and like that part that says storage of animal manure, blah, blah, unless blah, 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 blah. Just, can't we just write storage of animal manure, period?
Right, because we don't want them to do it even if they do cover it. Right.
Okay. And then where it says earth removal, and then it says except for excavations for building foundations, roads, or utility works. We don't want them taking this, the sand away because that's what
No, I think
wildlife needs.
I think they mean to build a foundation road or the utility on the property. I don't think they mean taking it out.
But it
I
doesn't
agree with
say that.
you.
It doesn't say that they couldn't take it out to build a road somewhere else.
Well, that's why it's prohibited for earth removal, with the exception of excavation for a building foundation, road, or utility. So, like taking it out to build those things. I feel like that's what it says.
It couldn't be interpreted as we need some earth down to fill in all the holes on Vinton Pond Road, so we're going to get it from, I don't know, I'm just,
See, I read this the way Selena does, that they could remove it if they're building a road, like from Mason Road into where the well would be in that one section.
Well, I can see both interpretations, and if you leave that out, then they can't remove the earth.
Right, but they also can't put in the well if they need to. Like if they have to build a well building, they wouldn't be able to take the dirt out of the site to build the well building.
But
Right,
I think it says excavations on for buildings, foundations, roads, or utility works on the property. Almost like take that out and put it there.
yes, that's better.
Okay.
Treatment.
I mean, do we want sewage treatment facilities there?
No,
Am I reading this right?
So I think the only thing that this would give us is that they are allowed to treat the area if the water becomes contaminated. Then they can treat it to make it better.
Is that what that means?
Yeah, because it's for a net improvement of water quality.
it says for wastewater.
Except for
Well,
the
with existing water quality problems.
Uh-huh. Okay. I have to read that one again. I'm not sure. And I'm not going to do it right now. Let's just keep going and get through all of these and then. Is this it?
Yeah, we're close to the end.
Oh, okay. Is that mine? Sorry.
So I don't think we need the unless here. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, we can eliminate that. Let's check.
I think we're good with the rest of them.
Yeah, can we just back up to that? Yeah, to this thing. Treatment.
Do you want to read it out loud, Emily? That might help me.
Treatment or disposal works subject to for wastewater other than sanitary sewage. Treatment or disposal works for wastewater other than sanitary sewage, except for the following. The replacement or repair of an existing treatment works that will not result in a design capacity greater than the design capacity of the existing treatment works. Treatment works approved by the Department of Environmental Protection designed for the treatment of contaminated groundwater. Sewage treatment facilities in those areas with existing water quality problems when it has been demonstrated to both the Department of Environmental Protection's and the Board of Health satisfaction that these problems are attributable to current septic problems and that there will be a net improvement in water quality.
I think we leave all of those there, mostly for future things, not because any of them are there now.
Okay.
But that's how I read it. I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
Because I don't think we can anticipate what might get put on that property. Okay.
Is there a way in the conservation restriction to make a statement that if the well is activated, then the water department will be allowed to blah, 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 blah. Or I'm just trying to think about Fish and Game's willingness to hold the CR and whether they're going to balk at all of these things. That's all I'm thinking about. But we can present this, and if this
And we can,
isn't to their liking, then maybe they could suggest ways to simplify it.
I think so.
Okay.
I think that's a good approach. I do think if there's anything they're unhappy with, they'll let us know and then we can revise.
Right.
Okay.
Did we hit any of the application of pesticides, herbicides, insecticides? We didn't get to those, did we?
I didn't see
Somehow on my version, there's more to it.
Mhm.
So we got through here. So
Oh, okay.
three, so number 2 is the prohibited uses. We didn't get to number 3. And I don't know.
Requiring a special permit.
Here's the pesticides, herbicides.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one. Okay. We just haven't gotten there yet.
Maybe we need to pick that up and put it in because that's a prohibited use, correct? In the water district?
Right.
Okay.
Uh, Do we want any of these others?
I think we may. Uses and activities requiring a special permit. Following are allowed in zone 2 and 3, and only if allowed in the underlining zone and only upon they may require. Maybe not. Activities that involve the I think number C, is that a not allowed use? Any use that will render impervious.
What's that, like asphalt,
Yeah,
road?
yeah.
Would that prevent them from building a road to the well, though?
It would just, it just means that they wouldn't be able to pave it, I think. I think they could still build the road. Huh.
Oh,
Oh,
actually, that's one thing. We don't want any dry wells, because the turtles can fall in and not be able to get out.
Yeah, so we might.
We also would want this one.
So let's pull those up and put them in then.
Yeah, just application of fertilizers.
We do.
I think all of F is a good one too. The construction of dams or other water control devices, ponds, pools.
I don't think the river is part of the property, though.
No, I don't think it is either.
I'm pretty sure the property doesn't extend to the river.
What about the rest of the
Well,
C?
yeah. So I don't know that we want to say this
Specify
part
that.
about the how much.
We can leave that part out, I guess. But what about the rest of it?
Well, the groundwater recharge would be if we're allowing them to render anything impervious. So
Okay.
if they're allowed to build a road, then they need to build a little the stormwater infiltration basin. That's what I was saying for Tesa. We're building a little ditch along the fence line.
See, I think we need to allow that, correct?
Yeah, probably.
I'm not sure how to put that
Oh,
one.
wait, it's not a basin. The basin is also a thing that is deep enough that we don't want it. Trying to remember what they said it was called. Right, Kat, you got to get out of my way. Let me see if I can make this big enough to read. Yeah, so we don't want a basin.
Okay.
They don't have the verbiage that they used. They haven't gotten me the updated plan yet.
Are you talking about a swale?
What was that?
A swale? The
That,
verbiage that you might have heard, swale?
that
It's just
doesn't
a
ring a
template.
bell.
Okay.
Um, the only place we talk about a road in this.
It's there. I have to look at that one.
Do you- um, I'm starting to wonder whether we could simply say something that the land should be kept in its natural state unless the water department chooses to activate the water well. I don't know, something a little bit more general.
Where at are you thinking of that? You mean in totality? You mean,
Yeah. Although maybe that can be in like a preface or something where
yeah,
I don't know. I just feel like I'm getting bogged down in these details of construction that I'm not really, I'm not an engineer. I'm not qualified to
Yeah, so I think, again, this
predict.
is the MESA CR template. They have this water quality protection that it preserves the natural undisturbed environment. Um,
Right. Something really, really basic.
yeah.
that's what that is, yeah. Um, okay, what are their prohibited uses?
This covers a lot of the same things.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then, but that Roman numeral 4, removing, cutting, pruning, or destroying vegetation as part of our habitat maintenance, we have to do some of that.
Well, I think this is the except as allowed. We would have to just make sure that the habitat maintenance is included in.
Right, except, right, as
allowed for habitat maintenance.
correct. Right, perfect. Yeah, I like the way this is written better. It's easier to understand. Applying or using fertilizers in any quantity. Where it says, any commercial, recreation, other business or industrial use, we would have to make allowance for, the water well.
Right.
Right.
Oh, what's that Roman numeral 5? With prior written permission, the right to restore, maintain, enhance, or otherwise manage biotic communities or habitats for native or rare species.
And so maybe we could add something that says adding a well, you know.
Ooh, they have mowing.
Perfect.
This one's actually pretty good, this whole,
So this is on the application?
So this
That's-
is a template that MISA gives out.
Oh, the template, okay.
yeah,
What if we use the template to see what's already covered with those things that we went through
uh-huh,
and decide which verbiage is better? Chances are it's gonna be this one, so we seem to like this better. And then we see what's left over that isn't included in it, that we might want to include.
that sounds reasonable.
So if we get the copy of what we have now, and we compare it to this, and next time we can sort of decide
Decide.
on which words we wanna use.
And I might tell Ann that we're thinking the MISA with some adjustments that we'll make next time. I could do that, but that's what we're thinking of.
Yep.
For the CR, okay. Since she's not, I think that's a good idea. So
Okay,
what,
so,
everybody has this, correct? Everybody
Yeah.
has the MISA template?
We got this in, I think the first email with all of the different documents.
Yes, it should be in there because this is what I sent out to, what I gave to Sabrina way back. So, okay. So everybody should have this. Maybe I'll have Sabrina send it out again so
Yes.
that people don't have to pull it out
Good idea.
from the pile. And Sabrina and Selena, if you send to Sabrina what we talked about today, and then we can compare them and see if there's anything that we can each look at them for homework and figure out if there's anything else that needs added based on what we did from this,
Mhm.
and then narrow it down that way. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay. And I will forward them to have it forwarded to Ann as well. All right. Those are,
Don't know if you need that.
thank you. I'll take that. That way, I'm gonna have to. For the minutes for this meeting, Emily, if you would just put in a little note about the change in Zoom and the new ID and passcode, just so it's documented that way, because I imagine it's going to be questioned.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm looking at our agenda. So we've discussed the agenda for the next meeting. It will be to finalize the CR using the MISA template, pretty much. And we'll, I'll talk to Ann, Selena will talk to NRWA, and we'll be pretty close to set after that. So next meeting date.
How
And I
about
might,
the 10th of July?
10th of July, I can do that.
What day of the week?
It's
Thursday.
Oh,
Thursday at 7 PM. Does that still work for everybody, given that it's summer?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
All right. We have a new person at the meeting here.
Is that Riley?
This is Riley.
He seems very happy, or is it a she? Is Riley a he or a
She,
she?
a girl. Yes.
Seems very settled.
so Emily, I'm intrigued with your offer. But I would like to, who was that person who lives near the location that had a couple of species that we released that day? That had,
Amanda?
Amanda? Okay. I wonder, because I don't, I'd be interested in what's involved, the setup, and how you do it. She seems to.
Okay, well, I did it also. I've been doing it for the past several years. So I can walk you through the whole process.
Okay.
I would be glad to do that.
All right, so maybe return your books at sometime soon, and you can show me what it might entail.
Okay, will do.
All right. Okay.
All right, do we have anything further before we adjourn? No?
Well,
Okay, motion to adjourn at 8:47. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
seconded.
Okay,
So Selena made the motion.
right.
Mike seconded it. All those in favor of adjourning at 8:47, roll call vote.
Mike
And
Potts said yes.
Veronica Cal, yes.
Alita Thomas, yes.
Emily Fine, yes. Riley
All right.
Fine, yes.
We are adjourned.